Marketing by the Minute is all about marketing, what it is, and the impact it can have on our lives.
Being in college is hard. We are trying to figure it out just like you. We want to share real experiences of Western Washington University graduates who are outstanding in their field, and that's why we created Marketing by the Minute, to inspire us to find our own way and to make our marks.
All right, so welcome back to another episode of Marketing by the Minute. This is a very special project put on by the Applied Integrated Marketing Communications team here at Western. And we're your hosts. I'm Clay Ashworth.
I'm Claudia Webster. So we want to welcome our guest for Marketing by the Minute today. We have Ashley Hann. Ashley is a 2012 Western Washington University graduate. She's a branding and marketing strategist, coach, best-selling author of the self-help book Magnetic Confidence, and a podcast host based in San Diego. She's the founder of Ashley Hann Branding and Consulting, where she and her team build brands and sites for mission-driven entrepreneurs and thought leaders.
Today, Ashley works to amplify the online presence of personal brands to help her clients make more money and create more impact. Ashley, we're super excited to have you today. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. You guys are awesome. You guys are so good.
Oh,
you guys are just professionals. Look at you.
Perfect.
We're stoked to have you today. Are you coming in from
I
San
am
Diego?
stoked to be here. Yeah, I'm actually not. So
Okay.
did Dan tell you that I was in San Diego?
No. We just
Okay,
assumed.
well I was.
Okay.
I was like that was old news. I was
Oh.
in San Diego, so if he said that, he was right.
Okay.
I lived there for 7 years, and now I live in North Carolina.
Oh,
Oh,
how's
wow.
that treating you?
Oh, I love it.
Oh, I
It's
love
beautiful.
the
The lake
East
is
Coast.
gorgeous.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous.
Big change from the West
Oh, yeah.
San Diego.
Big change, but great change. Perfect for raising a family. And as you guys might know, I just had my daughter, and she's
Yeah.
5 months old. And so this is the perfect sanctuary, fun. It's beautiful. So
That's amazing.
Cool.
I'm very blessed to live here.
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely a beautiful place. I've been there a few times myself. So, Ashley, you do a lot. You wrote a book. You are a podcast host. You're a CEO. While I'm sure no day looks the same, if you could kind of describe what a typical day in your career looks like.
A day in the life. So this question is interesting because, as you know, I'm a new mom. So my days look a lot different pre-pregnancy than, actually there's three versions of me. Well, actually there's many versions. That's part of being an entrepreneur. You're consistently reinventing. So I had the me when I was first building my business, and that was a lot different than once my business was established and running and I had my systems in place and all the things. And then I became pregnant, and that looked totally different because it was all about me working less, but actually still creating more. So that's a whole thing we could talk about if you want, but that was me working less, but actually I had the highest income month I'd ever had in my career while I was working, literally not working in my first trimester of pregnancy when I was so sick in bed every day. and then now as a mom, my whole thing is I want to be as present as possible for my little girl, Skyla. So it's all about, restructuring my business so that I can create a both and, right? Not an either or. So it's not about I can either be present with my daughter or I can run my business and create a successful business. No, it's about how can I create a both and where I'm being a present, awesome mom, and I'm being a super successful, awesome entrepreneur who's impacting thousands of lives, right? So it's both. So that was a long-winded intro to my answer, but what I'm going to answer you with now is my day in the life, I guess now, and what that looks like is I wake up, I feed my daughter, and I probably spend, honestly, maybe an hour of work a day. My business is running fully. And so maybe 4 to 5 hours a week of work, and every day looks different. Like I have actually a calendar system where Tuesdays and Thursdays are the only days that I take calls. That's why I'm here with you, right? So I only do calls, meetings, podcast interviews, which I'm not even taking podcast interviews, but I'm creating an exception for y'all because I love Western Washington University.
It's a great exception. We're very thankful.
Yeah, of course. I'm all about it. So yeah, that's what it looks like now. But I wanted to preface that answer because I want you to know this is not obviously how it's always looked. I went through my hustle years, right? I went through that. And that was very different.
Right. I was going to say, I think, like, do you think that there was a lot during the beginning of kind of these hustle years that really set you up for this ability to be able to take calls Tuesdays and Thursdays? Like,
yeah,
definitely a lot of years of grinding to get to where we are now.
And that's the thing. That's why I'm so passionate about what I do. And I coach entrepreneurs. I coach mainly female entrepreneurs and how to set up their businesses in a way that sets them up to win. So they're not feeling like overworked or burnt out, because I went through that, you know, and I had major lessons as a new entrepreneur. I learned a lot, and I hired coaches. I've always had a coach my entire career to support me. And so now I'm paying that forward, and I'm coaching my clients on how to create businesses sometimes from scratch, right? And what's the first step, helping them through that, and then helping women who already have established businesses, but they're ready to scale it, but they're like, how in the heck do I scale it? Because I feel so burnt out and capped out. Like, how can I do more, right? And as I told you, it's not about doing more, right? It's not always about doing more. And so I went through the hustle, and every entrepreneur has to go through that, though. So I'm going to just say every entrepreneur gets to go through that. They're blessed to go through that. And it's a season of your career as an entrepreneur, and it will pass. And the sooner you can get support, like from a coach or someone that's been there, done that, the sooner you'll get through that season of hustle and grind.
I was going to ask a question. A lot of people preach like the grind and the hustle and like do as much as you can, don't sleep type of work. So you're kind of combating that.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what you teach.
You guys know Gary Vee? Gary
Yeah.
Vaynerchuk. Okay, so he was my first business mentor. And that was back before, by the way, he had probably like 100K followers on Instagram. So he'd published, I think, 2 books at the time, and I had read one of them anyways. I met him at an event. We really clicked. We were, geeking out about marketing. And then he actually became my first mentor. And I learned so much from him. And as you know, the early days of Gary, now he's actually not as much about the hustle. He was, you guys probably have seen, like, he was really about the hustle and grind for a while. And that's what he taught me. And so I was in that. And it was fun. That's the thing, is if you love what you do, guys, if you love what you do, you're going to love working. So it won't really feel like work, because you may be hustling and working, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. or whatever it is, but you're going to be having fun because you're going to be loving what you're doing. And there's some things that you're going to, do that maybe are tedious and that you don't love as much, but it's part of the process, right? And then as you grow, you can delegate those things, right? And focus on what you love to do.
Absolutely. I bet that kind of helped you build your personal brand to become what it is today. We love your personal brand design. I have to say, I was looking at it. I was looking at your website. It's amazing. You've done some really amazing work. And I have a quick question. I was wondering, how important is it to figure out your personal brand style and look?
So I would say it's the most important the more established you get. So initially, I wouldn't stress about it so much because in the beginning phases of being a personal brand, you're still kind of figuring that out. You're getting a lot of feedback from your audience, right? And you're kind of getting your bearings. I mean, it's great to have an intention. It's great to have an idea, but don't overthink it. You know what I'm saying? Like, let it come out naturally. And then as you get in your flow, then you'll be like, okay, this is my essence. Like, this is what I stand for. This is what's really resonating with my people. And this is what's really feeling good for me. And from there, you can solidify your brand. And here's the thing, guys. I said this in the beginning, you're going to reinvent over and over and over again. Like, I've reinvented my brand and it's evolved with me that's the beauty of a personal brand, is it's not like a company. Well, companies evolve too, but it's totally different because you as a human are always growing, always evolving, right? So what's cool is when you have a personal brand, it evolves with you. So I actually started out fitness coaching. I don't know if y'all knew that, but I was coaching.
Yeah.
You didn't know that? Okay, yeah. It was like it was a short phase of my career, but that's where I started. And it's interesting. I still have those OG followers of mine who came on at that point in my journey. And the Ashley Hann brand has evolved so much since then, but I'm still the brand. It's still me, but it looks a lot different now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you've started out with fitness. You've met some mentors on the way. You are where you are now, working 4 to 5 hours a week. So at the end of the day, what's kind of like the most meaningful thing for you?
Yeah.
Like right now?
The fulfillment. There is nothing like transforming the lives of my clients. I mean, and it is the most rewarding, more than the money, more than anything else. It's impacting the lives of others. And in your intro, by the way, your lovely intro that you guys did of me, thank you for that. That was awesome. So my branding agency, right? My branding consulting agency is really the top of my client ladder. So when you have your own business, actually in many businesses, there's what you call a customer ladder or client ladder, right? So at the top of my ladder is what I do in my branding and consulting agency is we create websites that capture, it's basically we create online presence that captures the power of someone's offline presence. Right? So that's what I do. It's capturing their essence, capturing their power in web form.
I was thinking that. So your clients are more established and they just need like that push.
That's exactly what I was.
Get to the
that's
next
exactly
level.
where I was going. So those clients that I work with at that highest level, like that highest level, that's the highest level that you can work with me, right? Aside from my private one-on-one coaching clients, right? That's like the top. And I have a whole team in my agency that runs that side of my business. I usually kick it off. Like I have the vision call with my clients. I create the initial strategy, and my team just takes it away from there. So that's the business that was able to continue to run while I was pregnant and, my first few months of having Skyla. That business was still running. We were still serving clients, which is awesome. But that I'm serving established leaders and personal brands that are making massive impacts in the world. And already like they're making massive impacts. Like some of my clients are some of the most well-known personal brands and leaders in the self-development world today. They're making big impacts. And so me getting to amplify that impact, the ripple effect that I'm creating, that my business is creating, is massive, because I'm actually supporting these huge leaders that are creating such a big difference in the world. Does that make sense?
Wow.
Totally, yeah. This impact that you have, that you help strategize and you help elevate, and these people become, like you said, just like some of the biggest, most impactful that we've seen. It sounds incredible. And I'm just wondering, like, what caused you to come to this calling? How did you come upon this? So what compelled you to become this coach?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll take it back to WWU and my amazing, honestly, it was such a great experience. I had my two most memorable teachers in marketing are Mr. Dan Purdy and also Dr. Ed Love. Is Ed Love still there?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yay. So they were definitely the two most impactful for me. And that's because they're really about the hands-on real life stuff. Like you guys doing a podcast right now. That's awesome. You guys are getting hands-on experience with this. This is great. Right. So the tangible stuff I really like. So, I found my passion for marketing through the classes that I took at Western. And when I was about to graduate, I knew that I wanted to work in a dynamic startup environment. That's just something I knew. I didn't want to work for corporate. Now, there's no bad, wrong, right way to do it. Like it's different strokes for different folks, right? You, Clay, may want to work, like corporate may be something that you're like, oh, I want that life. Like that feels good for me, right? Or, Claudia, you may be like, oh, I really want to be in a messy kind of dynamic startup. Like, that's what I want. It's just different people want different things. I knew that I wanted something that I could come in and be a major player. So I wanted to come in and be able to see behind the scenes of the business. And the only way to do that is really with a small business starting out, right? So that's when I worked for ABC Shark Tank, Mark Cuban company called Tower Paddleboards, which Dan knows because he's the one who actually wrote a recommendation letter for me, which is amazing. I'm forever grateful for that. And yeah, and that's where I learned a lot. And it's through like that first job, I learned so much about online marketing and so much about online branding and SEO and these things. And even, Facebook advertising and social media. I mean, I learned so much in that position, and also the back end, what it takes to run a business. I mean, we were in a windowless, probably 600 square foot basement. I was in the same room as the guy shipping the paddleboards. Like I was literally sniffing packing tape all day long. Like that's where
that's a startup.
Right? Like that is like that was the startup life. I was the first in the office every morning, 7:30 or 8 a.m. and I was the last to leave. I would leave at 8 p.m. Like I was committed. I wanted to make a difference in the company, and I did. That first 6 months after I got in the company, we grew 500%. So massive growth. Within that 6 months, we moved to a beautiful office right by the beach. I had my own big office with a window. Now, this is just like within a year out of college, right? My salary increased tremendously. Like it was an awesome experience. And so for me, that was what really got me to see, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. Like I want this. I want to create my own business like Stefan, who was my boss at the time, did, right? That he's so passionate about. So that's kind of how I found my way to then creating my own business.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I think it's refreshing and nice to hear that all kind of stems from Western, which is really just amazing. And I think with your entrepreneurial spirit, with this emphasis that you have on coaching, you really preach, as you said earlier, you preach women's leadership. Your work touches a lot of lives. And I, as a woman, particularly myself, I just want to know what some of the obstacles you may have overcame to get to a position where you can help others reach where you have gotten to.
Yes, I love that question. So thank you for that, Claudia. So,
of course,
to all the ladies listening right now, the biggest thing that's standing in your way is, what do you think it is, Claudia? I just want to see if you might be able to.
Is it
yes.
me?
That's it. That's it. You are the biggest thing that's standing in your way. So that's why I wrote that book, Magnetic Confidence. And you know why I didn't just call it confidence and why I called it magnetic confidence is because when you think of a magnet, what does it do? It attracts, right? What does it also do? Repels. Both. Here's the thing. We're all great with the attraction part. We're like, attract. I want to attract all the people. But when we repel someone, what happens? Our self-esteem might take a hit. We might feel the sting of rejection. We might feel like, disempowered to go on because someone rejected us. Someone didn't like what we were doing, right? And that can take a hit on someone. And it can actually stop and block you from creating powerful impact in the world. So that's why I wrote that book, is because being magnetically confident means you're okay with both. You're so rooted in who you are and what you stand for and your mission that it doesn't matter if people like you or hate you. It doesn't matter. The lovers, bring on the haters. You're here for it all because that's part of the game. So the biggest thing that I work with my women is that being rooted in who you are and what you do and what you stand for, so that you are not being swayed as much, right? Because the haters are going to come. That's just part of life. There's light and dark to everything, guys. So it's the more firm you are in who you are, the less the haters and the rejection is going to affect you. So that's my biggest piece of advice for my women is just be rooted in who you are. And if anyone says anything to you that hurts you or that stings, that's okay. That's part of being human. And what that reveals to you is that there's some work you get to do there. If someone says something to you and it stings and it triggers you, that means that all it clearly means is not that they're right. It means that there's something in you that thinks they could be right. You see what I'm saying? There's something in you that's questioning that about yourself, because otherwise it wouldn't bother you. If someone went up to you, Clay, and was like, "You're a blue frog," you'd be like,
I know. I'm
yeah,
not a blue
you'd be
frog,
like,
yeah.
"That's a weird thing to say. You have a great day." Like, all right then.
Yeah.
But it would drip off your back like water. You'd be like, "Oh, that was just a weird moment in my day," and then you'd forget about it, right? But if someone called you something that you were actually deep down slightly insecure about, right, that could sting and that could hurt. And so that's just showing you that you don't know, like you know you're not a blue frog. You don't know that you're not that thing. Does that make sense? Is that landing for you guys?
Yeah. Does that come with like knowing yourself?
Yes.
If you, for me, when you say that, if you question yourself and you kind of feel insecure, to me, it's like, okay, well, maybe I don't know that part about myself, or like I really don't know myself in that sense.
Exactly. So I think of it as an invitation. So triggers are invitations. They're invitations for you to know yourself on a deeper level.
That is such a great way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
I had never even come across something like that. I think that what you say with like this magnetism, this attraction, this repelling, is definitely something that women experience very deeply, whereas I feel that many men don't feel that sort of repelling. It is more commanding and, just like confident, whereas for a woman it would be bossy. So I think that, the business landscape is very male dominated to this day, and I think a lot of women find that to kind of be a barrier of entry into the business realm. So I was wondering if there's any advice that you could give to women like me who are even just entering maybe a business major or taking their first steps out into their career.
It's all about what you believe. So we are actually believing beings. We steer our lives based on what we believe, period. We're actually not steering our lives based on logic or ration, even though we think that we're being rational, logical beings. We're trying to be. We're actually steering our lives based on what we believe to be true. And so if you, for example, if you believe that it's a male-dominated world, so it's going to be harder for me to make a mark, can we know that to be absolutely 100% true? Like that statement, that it's going to be harder for you as a woman to make a difference and to create impact and to create lots of money for yourself. Can we absolutely know that that's true? Clay said it. No, right? We can't know that to be true. It's something we made up. We can also make up the story, press subscribe to this belief, which I would rather subscribe to, which is it's a male-dominated industry. Ooh, that means I'm going to stand out. That means it's going to be easier for me to make an impact because they're going to want me in there, because they want the diversity, because they want women to stand up and make an impact, right? So that's an example of how powerful your beliefs are. Like, this is what I wish honestly was taught in the school system that I don't see being taught, is this kind of, emotional intelligence work. Because that's really, you really are the source of all of your results. Like, you're the source of your success. You're the source of what's there or what's not there. You, period. So what you believe to be true is all about you. It's not actually about the truth of what's out there. There's endless, infinite possibilities for you as a woman. Okay, and same for men. I mean, this go either way. I just speak to women because that's my experience. I'm a woman. I don't know what men go through. Okay.
No, I mean, that's amazing. Seeing it as an opportunity rather than a barrier of entry is just an amazing way to look at it. And I feel like a lot of people don't often see that. They just kind of shut down when they see male-dominated industry. They're just like, all right, not for me. I'm gone.
Yeah.
Which I think is amazing to think of it as something like I can get in there and I can.
Yeah. You can also think of it as, there's not enough women in this industry, said industry, whatever it is. There's not enough women in there. They're going to need me in there, right? They want me there because there's not enough women serving. That's another way to look at it. There's literally endless ways that you could craft that story that would be empowering to you versus disempowering.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I think that is extremely empowering, and probably a lot of our listeners will resonate with that statement.
Even men. I mean, that's
absolutely.
I take that and see value in it. So
absolutely.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
So you have so much going on through.
Yeah, juggling a lot.
Yeah.
Motherhood.
Motherhood, moving, new work schedule, stuff like that. Is there anything coming up next, like for you? Are there any special projects? Do you have anything to look forward to in the near future?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a lot being birthed right now, as I was literally just birthed as a mom, and I birthed my baby. There's just so much transition and change happening in my life right now, and it's all very exciting and also at the same time a little scary, because as we know, the unknown can be scary sometimes, and I'm just leaning into that. And so one thing that is new and exciting for me is partnerships. So this year for me is a year of partnerships, because I don't want to do it all by myself. And right now, that's just not my desire. By the way, this is a key thing. I want everyone who's listening to write this down.
Get out your pen and paper, people.
Yeah. If you desire to be an entrepreneur. So this is, if you desire to build your own business someday, this is what I want you to know. Design your business around your ideal desired lifestyle, not the other way around. Got it?
Okay.
Oh, design your lifestyle around your businesses.
Yeah. So instead of designing your lifestyle around your business, you're going to design your business around your lifestyle, meaning your lifestyle and how you desire to live comes first. Guys, I wanted to travel the world. I'm a traveler. I'm an adventurous. That's who I am at my core. When I first hit 6 figures in my business, this was like, I don't remember the exact year, but it was, if I really thought about it, I could come up with it. That's irrelevant. But it was when I was traveling for 2 years. I was a nomad. Like, I literally put all my stuff in storage, okay? And I was like, this is what I want to do. I was living my life based on how I wanted to live it, based on what sounded ideal to me, what I desired, and I built my business around that. You see, and then I was traveling for 2 years. I lived in Bali for 6 months. I traveled Europe for the summer, and I was mainly living in Southeast Asia. And during that time was when I hit 6 figures in my business. And I was at that time probably working, I don't know, on average, let's say 5 or 6 hours a day, probably 5 hours a day on average, right? And that was me. That was what I wanted. I was like, I don't want to work too much. I want to be able to take a day off whenever I want to take a day off. Like, if someone invites me to go swim with elephants, I can be like, hell yeah, I want to go swim with elephants. Like, I'm going to take tomorrow off, and have that freedom. Freedom is a huge value of mine. So I built my business around my life. I didn't build my life around my business. You see what I'm saying? So that's a big piece of advice to my people who want to be entrepreneurs that are listening and want to build their own businesses someday. Build it around what you want. Build it around your ideal lifestyle.
I would say most people would think that that's like a huge jump, like a huge risk.
It is a huge risk.
How do you change your mind, like change your brain to thinking the other way? I would say a lot of people get stuck in like, ooh, that's risky. Yeah. Like things can go wrong. How do you kind of switch it to, or like giving yourself a chance to take that risk? If you
want to be an entrepreneur, risk is the game you play. Period. There is no way around that, guys. It is there's literally no way. I mean, when I quit I didn't tell you this part of my journey, but I worked for a big, huge $100 million corporate company after that startup company, because I just wanted to test the waters and like dip my foot in and be like, do I want to do corporate? I just want to double check. Like, do I want to do corporate? And I lasted 7 months and I quit because I didn't want to do corporate. I was like, I was right. Okay, I'm going to start my business now. So, but when I was leaving that job, I'll never forget that moment. I was sitting out on my balcony in San Diego in my little 500 square foot apartment, and I was sitting on the balcony crying on the phone with my dad, just bawling my eyes out, so scared, because I wanted to quit the next day. I said, Dad, I want to quit. I know this is not my job. I know this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. It's an awesome company, by the way. It was like a Google type of company. Like, they had a ping pong, it was awesome. Great team, fun, full benefits, great salary. I was making I think it was like $80K, which was great for that point in my life. And I was scared. I was so scared because guess what? It was a big risk. What if my business idea doesn't work? What if nobody hires me? No, what if I don't get any clients? What if I can't pay rent? What if I end up on the streets? Right? All the thoughts come in your head, right? That's fear, false evidence appearing real. It's your imagination. You're imagining the worst. So I had to call my dad because he's always the one that snaps me straight. And he was like, Ashley, take the leap of faith. Trust yourself. You've always figured it out. And it's true. I have always figured it out. And I'm sure each of you listening, you've always figured it out. Like, you've always figured it out, right? Here you are. You're sitting here. You're doing great, you know. You've always figured it out. So that is the biggest piece of advice, is taking the leap of faith and trusting yourself. And the second one is choosing a belief that serves you and empowers you. So don't focus on the fear. That's false evidence appearing real, right? Don't focus on the fear. Focus on what could go right versus what could go wrong. Because what we focus on expands. Where our attention goes, energy flows, right? So if you're focusing your attention on all this crap, sorry, I almost cussed here, that could go wrong, that could go wrong, guess what you're going to create? You're going to create stuff that's going to go wrong. That's just how that's universal law. That's how it works. That's how we are as human beings. We'll create what we focus on. So focus on what could go right and take the leap of faith, because you're worth it. You're worth living the life that you desire, the life of your dreams. Period. We have one life.
You don't hear that every day.
You don't.
So, yeah.
That leap of faith, I think, is something that so many people need to hear. Whether it's, you know, deciding your major when you're at Western, or deciding what steps you want to take after graduation, that leap of faith is just so important.
Absolutely.
It's, you know, it's a determinant, and you're right. Focusing on the good, you will draw in that good when
you'll create it.
It's absolutely,
attract
you'll create it. You'll attract it. It'll be amazing.
Repel
That's so
the fear.
Cool.
Okay.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I'm just like, I'm taking that in. I don't even know where to go.
Yeah.
That was just, amazing stuff. And I can only imagine that some of the things that you go through coaching with.
Calling them on their BS. Right? So I call my clients, I see their blind spots, and I call them on their BS stories. Like I just said, it's false evidence appearing real. Like I will call that out. And that's why, like, one thing I'll say to everyone that's listening to this is, regardless of whether you decide to be an entrepreneur or work for corporate, whatever, I truly believe, because this is what's worked for me and what I've seen worked for my clients, my colleagues, my friends that are very, very successful, same with Gerard, my fiance, is invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. Right now, y'all are investing in yourself by being in school, right? So that's investing in yourself. Don't stop doing that, though. Like, when you graduate, hire a coach. It was the best decision I ever made, was to hire a coach. Because it's like, when you try to do it by yourself, you can do it. You can get from point A to point B on your own. I'm not saying you can't. You absolutely can. But it's like if I wanted to get from here, East Coast to West Coast, I could, drive. It might take longer. I could get there, right? I'll eventually get to the West Coast. Or I could hop on a jet plane and get there a lot quicker. That's how I think of more fun, quicker, right? Less bumps along the way, less pit stops, less probably course correcting, and oh crap, I took the wrong turn, right? Yeah, exactly. That's what coaching and investing in yourself does. It supports you because it allows you to get to where you want to go faster at quantum speeds, because you're working with somebody who's already been there, done that, and can support you and guide you along the way. So that's a big piece of advice. When you graduate, guys, don't stop investing in yourself. Keep investing. Always have a coach, always have a mentor, always have someone who is supporting you, rallying you.
Yeah, and I think in the marketing program, I feel that. I don't know if I could speak for you too, but it does feel like an investment in myself. And I believe, I mean, in our class at least, I think that it's a big investment,
Very
especially us
personalized.
in summer, and like the professors that we have, Western, I feel is good in that way. So
Yeah, summer quarter, if you're here because you want to be here, because
Yeah.
it's the summer.
Yeah, totally.
Could be out at Lake
Yeah.
Whatcom. So you do a lot. You have evolved you've spent a lot of time in your field kind of developing this invest in yourself culture, coaching, writing books. As somebody who is so caught up with trends in marketing, in business, where do you see the marketing industry going?
Oh, wow, that's a big question. Marketing industry?
It's kind of loaded, yeah.
I mean, marketing industry, marketing is like the biggest umbrella of all the things.
It's very broad, yeah. We can narrow it down to where you see specifically the industry that you are involved in.
Okay, so yeah, like the self-development coaching industry, let's say coaching industry. So there's a lot of interest in that because a lot of people want to make a difference and they're seeing the impact that is being created and they want to be a part of it and they want to create impact too. I mean, that's the genuine motive, let's say, an intention behind someone who would want to become a coach and would want to be in this industry. What that also means is that it's becoming a lot more saturated, right? There's more people. It's becoming bigger, right? And so what I see is the need for personal brands, for coaches, authors, speakers, for these individuals to harness more than ever before their unique essence. Because as a personal brand, the thing that makes you stand out is the personal part. Not the brand, because everyone has a brand. But not everyone is Clay. Not everyone is, you're all unique in your own way. So I see it more important than ever in the personal brand space for you to be showing all parts of you. And my female clients, they get really scared when I say this, because when I say all parts, I mean even the goofy BTS, like parts that you may not want anyone to know about you, parts that you may actually maybe even shame yourself for because you think that it won't be appropriate or accepted by the public. I'm saying own that. I'm saying go full speed with that because that's what's going to differentiate you and that's what's going to attract your people, like your tribe that's meant for you, your raving fans. So I call it your 360 self. So owning your 360 self.
Own your 360 self. I love that. Oh.
Would you say that's the biggest hump that people need to get over to take that next step? It's hard.
My mastermind program, a lot of my mastermind programs, that's the biggest thing I'm coaching my women on is just accept all of you and own all of you and show all of you. And they're like, well, but, I'm this and, I don't know how accepted. Like one of my clients is a lawyer and she's like, but, big law. I mean, that's, I don't know if I can do that. I'm like, that's going to make you stand out, babe. Nobody else is doing it. Like show that part of you, right? And she's like, and it's scaring her. It's terrifying her because she's like, well, I don't know how people are going to respond. So, you're gonna again be magnetic. You're gonna repel the clients that aren't a match for you, anyways, and you're gonna attract the ones that are. You're gonna be even more attractive and potent to those people who are your people. So, yeah, that's my biggest thing that I coach my clients on. For sure. It's a hurdle because people are scared. They're scared of rejection because it is personal. As in, it's about you, but you got to remember this, is that when people reject you, it's about them. It's their own beliefs, their own perceptions, their own outlooks, their own stories. It has nothing to do with you. See that? So that's why a lot of this, when you're in the entrepreneurial space, a lot of it's inner game. Like it's your inner game that you've always got to keep on point because you're going to be coming up against stuff all the time, challenges, fears, and rejection. And you got to be in a space where you can thrive through that and grow through that versus stop and give up or stop and hold back. You know what I'm saying?
That's an amazing takeaway. It's like, gosh, you've made some really amazing points. I think that will resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah, especially as people who are graduating and starting to look for a job soon. I think a lot of people get caught up in, I need to be super buttoned up and, don't show my flaws.
Oh, yeah.
Be perfect.
Be polished.
Yeah.
Totally.
So I think that's refreshing for me. I'm sure a lot of people will take that.
Totally.
So
it's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it.
We really do.
We have one last question for you, Ashley.
Yeah.
We like to ask our guests what their definition of marketing is in a minute or less. So the question is, what is your definition of marketing?
My definition of marketing is the stuff that you do to get your people to think about you while they're in the shower. Okay, wait, no, I'm joking. I'm joking, but it's actually pretty true. No, I would say my definition of marketing, that's also a great definition. My definition of marketing would be the art of capturing the attention of your people and influencing them to buy your products or services.
The art of capturing attention.
It's an art.
Okay.
Totally.
Yeah. Wow. It is. It is an art.
It's awesome to hear different people's definitions and perspectives.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I gave you 2 definitions, so. I gave you double.
Yeah.
That first one sticks in your head. That one sticks in your head.
Shower and art.
All right. So once again, everybody, this is Ashley Hann. Ashley, if you have anything that you want to share, anything that we can follow you on, we would love to get that information.
Yeah,
from you.
come hang out with me on Instagram. I'm always on there. So I'm at ashley.hann, ashley.hann. And then my website is ashleyhann.com. Easy peasy.
Awesome. Yay. All right. We appreciate it so much. We've had just an amazing conversation. So many takeaways. Yeah. I'm going to think about it for a very long time. I'm going to take it with me. Maybe I'll hit up you to be my
Yes.
coach.
Yeah, girl. I'm here for it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you once again for joining us today. Ashley and everybody.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you to our followers for tuning into this episode. We would like to thank our student production team. We have Jay Skirston and Bianca Slamit on editing, Nicole Shive and Jerry Manzano as producers and equipment managers, and obviously our executive producer, Riley Hewitson. And we're your hosts. I'm Claudia Webster.
I'm Clay Ashworth.
And we are coming to you live from the Western Washington University Marketing Podcast Studio. And we'd like to thank our instructor, Dan Purdy. So, it's time to make your mark. Tune in next time for Marketing by the Minute.